welcome to Sit and Knit for a Bit. I'm your host, Melissa. I want to welcome you to my wonderful yarn room here in North Texas, where it's like another 100-degree weather day. You can find me on Ravelry as Aurora Evermore. Maybe someday I'll have links to that. Maybe. I don't know. I think like show notes. I don't know. Anyway, I want to show you guys something. I finally have an FO, a finished object. And I want to squee. My cardigan, my cable cardigan is finished. Ignore that. I didn't feel like tying that in. And it's on the inside. No one's going to know. But look! It is finished. Of course it's going to misbehave. And just for you guys, I will put it on. Even though it's 100 degrees outside. So bear with me. I'm always like super cautious about my hand-knitted stuff because I'm like, oh my gosh, I made that. It's probably gonna break. Isn't this gorgeous? It's a little smaller round than I would have wanted. But I tell you the truth, I don't ever button up my stuff. And in fact, I almost thought about not buttoning, but I wanted the look of the buttons on. So I like cardigans to stay open. And I guess this is more, for me, it's more like a jacket. Cardigan seems like longer, but it was a little difficult in the pattern. I mean, like the cable parting of the pattern wasn't difficult, but the directions on the collar was very weird and very vague. I'm sorry, I'm talking with my head cut off. And it just, I had to read it like 5 to 10 times before I really understood. And actually, to tell you the truth, I read it several times and still didn't really understand all of it. And so I started working on it because it tells you just like sew up the ends, sew up the shoulder and the sleeves, and apparently you were supposed to knit the sleeves flat and not round. So at least I didn't have to sew those up because I knitted it in the round. So you can do that. It didn't, once again, it didn't say. It didn't say whether to knit it in the round or in the flat. It just was very vague. And I guess in the end it didn't matter. And then it tells you to sew up the shoulders, and you're like, well, that's where the sleeves hit. What are you talking about? Which I thought was here. It actually meant the actual shoulder, like here. And then you have, it was just a little weird. But it wasn't horrible. Once I understood, then I was like, oh, this is easy. And the little ribbing collar wasn't too bad. I think it was supposed to be a little bit bigger, and maybe even do part of the cabling in there. And I was like, no, I don't want to do any more cables, and I want just a small collar with just the ribbing. And so I just stuck with the 2x2 ribbing. You do carry up the 1x1 ribbing for the buttonhole and button band up to the collar. Here, I guess I'll show you guys. You do carry that up through here, and then I went into the 2x2 ribbing for the collar. Once again, it wasn't that difficult once I understood what to do. I'll show you the buttons. And I do have the package for the buttons to show you guys. They're just some basic buttons I got at Walmart. As I've said before, I am not very particular about my buttons, I guess. And I kind of was thinking like a good metal Celtic button might be pretty, but you know, kind of like a worn brass color. But I had already bought these buttons and didn't feel like going out and trying to find new buttons, and I knew I wasn't going to really care, and so I just found these, and I've been happy with them. I got the right size, it fits perfectly. I don't know how I did that. I think this is my, you know what I need to do? I need to put my little name band on there. Ugh. Maybe someday I'll do that. But but anyway, so these are the buttons. I don't know if it makes any, I guess like the size. And like I said, just got them at Walmart. I have extras. I have seen some people sew like this, the extra inside. Yeah, I don't like sewing, so I'm not going to do that. I will hang on to them in case I lose one, but I'll put it in my sewing kit, my very, very small sewing kit. So, but yes. And I did find a ball band and just realized that it is the same yarn that is, you know, called for in the pattern. And they're both Knit Picks, so I believe this was a kit I bought. And that kind of makes sense from what I remember. Usually all my garments, I've never gone with the same yarn. And I rarely buy kits, just because they're kind of expensive. And like I said in my last podcast, I can't always afford that. But apparently this was a good deal, and I wasn't willing to try to find the right yarn. And I said, screw it, I guess I'll buy the package. So there's that. But yes, I'm super excited to have it done. I felt like it was a semester, you know, like I just finished a college semester that I worked on it so hard at the end, almost like studying for a final, and then poof, done, and I'm just like so relieved. That's the nostalgia, the exact feeling I'm having right now. I can't stop smiling, and oh, just so happy to have it done before my trip too. I feel like I can kind of just like take a breather now that I got that one thing done before my trip that I wanted to, so I don't have to stress about that anymore. I'm drinking some lovely tea out of my lovely teacup. I'm sorry. I have it tilted, and of course it's getting later, so now the sun's on me. And I actually have a yarn ball holder holding it up on one side, so I keep like going over here because the side of the screen I can actually see, even though I'm supposed to be looking at the camera right over there. This is the tea I'm drinking. It is Brownie and Ashley Gourmet Lemon Zest. A lot of times for Christmas, a lot of my family and friends give me lots of tea for Christmas, and I get a lot of like tea sampler packages. You know, you can usually find them in like the gift section of like Walmart, you know, the holiday gift section, and this is the lemon zest flavor. And I do like lemon with my hot tea. I like lemon and peach separate, maybe together for sweet tea. I do like my peach sweet tea. Pea hot tea is just weird. Pretty good. The cup I had earlier was a raspberry. I didn't really like it that much. But anyway, so now that the cable cardigan is done, I am going to move back over to the temperature blankets I've been working on. I don't have it with me because I haven't worked on it, so there's nothing to really show. But I can't wait to get back on, working on it, which is kind of a weird thing to say. I didn't think I'd ever say that. Not that I'm not enjoying that project, but once again, I'm just like, ugh, especially since for a while there, that's all I was working on. Kind of like what I just did with the cable cardigan. But I actually want to get caught back up with that before my trip, which is in about a week and a half. Woohoo! And I want to get caught back up because I know by the time I get back, I will need to get caught back up again. I don't know how many weeks behind I am. I can't remember the last time I worked on it. I'm hoping only like 2 weeks ago, but it could be like a month ago. I hope not. I don't want to do that much. We'll see. We'll see. I do have all this weekend coming up, and most of the stuff is ready for the camping trip. I'm just doing a little bit, each night. So the tea's the perfect temperature right now. I will be working on that. Oh, speaking of my trip, this is probably going to be the last time I podcast before the trip. I don't know if I will podcast during the trip. Probably not. I would find it really difficult to be talking to you guys with people around me. I would just be self-conscious of it and think everybody looking at me like, why is she talking to a screen? And obviously the distractions, and so it probably is not going to happen. Maybe I'll have a short clip. I don't know. Maybe I could show you guys some pictures or some videos for my trip. But once again, I don't know how to do all that. So it would be trial and error trying to figure that out, and don't know if it's going to be worth it. So if I don't, I'm sorry. You probably see a lot on my Facebook if you follow me on Facebook. But, alright. So the other thing I want to talk about is something I received in the mail. I've talked about it before, where I was waiting on the shipping and all that stuff, and apparently it sat on the Canadian side of the border forever, but as soon as it hit the United States border, it got here within 2 days. So, and I mostly just wanted it to get here before my trip because I wanted to use it on my trip, which is my lovely Project Keeper and Rogue Counter. I absolutely love bees, and of course this has a bee on it, and as soon as I saw it, I had to have it. It has a little plastic little spool on the back, which is the Rogue Counter. When I was ordering it, I was afraid that it would be too big. It'd be like too heavy. But it isn't. It is heavy, but it's not super heavy. And my fear is that it has a lobster claw, and that won't fit over almost every, except like sock yarn needles, like 2.5s. It won't fit over the needle. You could only grab the yarn, so that's more of the Progress Keeper. And I'm afraid the weight will pull on those stitches. Maybe if I grab like 3 stitches instead of 2 or something like that, maybe it won't be too bad then. But I might also just grab a ring or something to clip onto that and then put that on the needles. So I haven't decided yet. But this will be my little Rogue Counter for the Enchantment Under the Sea shawl. And that comes from Etsy. From, I assume, a lady. Her Etsy shop is called Twyland Print. Assuming it's kind of like a twilight, time of the day, but land. So Twyland with 2 L's. And it is a spring mini Rogue Counter Progress Keeper is the name of it. And she did have different designs. I think she had one that was just flowers. I think she had a couple other ones. Sorry, I wasn't interested in those. I was only interested in the bee. As soon as I saw the bee, I said yes, and I stopped looking for the most part. I kind of looked just to make sure, so a lot of times you get a deal on wonderful sunshine straight through. You want things to be bright so the colors show up and you get bright with the sun. But anyway, I did kind of continue to look just to see if there's anything else from her shop I wanted while I was already paying for shipping. And I didn't see anything that I absolutely had to have, and I was already spending a good chunk of money for this, but once again I had to have it. So there is that. So I commend her. She did a great job on that. Okay, drink some more tea. The sun's just gonna get worse, by the way. I'm gonna try to sit back here. You won't believe the getup I have trying to get that positioned right and aimed right, and with the yarn behind me. I think I'm doing better. Although now I've got the streaming light. Where is that? I don't even know. It's probably right in front of the camera. It's probably not even on the camera. It's probably on the screen. You guys can't even see what I'm talking about. So, only have one other thing to talk about, and that is a project I briefly mentioned before. It's the project I took on the same trip, but years ago. I couldn't even tell you which year. And it ended up, it was just too hard to work on. And in fact, I'm gonna kind of work on it while we're talking. It was too much lace. I didn't like the feel of the yarn with the knitting needle I had. It was too difficult, which is why I always say that, especially for like camping trips and stuff like that, pick something that is easy to do. And because this was a failure for the circumstances. Not saying the pattern or the yarn is a failure at all. So I'm actually I'm undoing it. This is the size, and I'm just, instead of trying to figure out where I'm at or whatever, I'm just gonna undo it and start over because I think I'm only like 3 rows in. This is I just said that I usually don't buy like project sets, and here I am about to talk about another one, and I think I've only bought three in my lifetime, so we're missing one. And then right now you get to see the other 2. So this was it's this knitting needle. I might just throw this out. I had bought really cheap knitting needles in the past. I don't have a lot of money. There we go. And I found these like on Amazon or Walmart or somewhere years ago. They're just a plastic tubing, and then they're glued onto these bamboo sticks, and you could buy like a set of all the sizes for like $4. But sometimes the transition from the tube to the knitting needle, there's sometimes a little gap, and the yarn catches, and it just, like, you can see my nail catching on it, and it just, I've actually taken a nail file and filed it down. Sometimes there's a lot of glue. Yeah, this side's not too bad. There's some, they're just, you get what you pay for, and I think that was the problem. So I'll probably look into some metal knitting needles. I have more now, so maybe I have that size. But let's talk about the pattern. This pattern was something that a friend of mine, I don't know if she wants her name mentioned on this, so I'm not going to mention her name, but she had like tagged me in this project and was like, ooh, isn't this pretty? And she does that a lot. And this one, I do love everything she's ever tagged me in, but a lot of times I'm not willing to buy any more yarn, don't need to, whatever. But I mean, I will buy everything that she shows me, if I could. But this one I was like, I must have. So this is the Homestead Cowl, and I think it's a set, and so I think the pattern is not a free pattern, so I'm going to try not to show you guys everything, so bear with me. But it's the Homestead Cowl, and it has a list of the yarn for you to see, and it looks like it's her hand-dyed or his hand-dyed yarn. And I don't have a great picture of what the cowl looks like. I guess I didn't have colored ink back then, but it's a cowl that starts off dark at the bottom and then it gets lighter, towards the top. And I think each color you do a different type of pattern, a different kind of like lace pattern or some kind of style. I think, if memory serves me correct, I think that's how it goes. And in fact, the rest of the instructions have like sections, and I think you have one color and you do this looking section, and then the next one is that looking section, and so on and so forth. So I'm super excited about that. I probably won't work on it until I get back from my trip. Excuse me, tea makes me burp. Not that you need to know that. But because I'm going to be working on my temperature blanket. Now, if I get caught up on my temperature blanket before my trip, maybe I will. But then again, part of me is just like, this was difficult. Do you want to start something and then leave? And, even though the trip is only just over a week long, I get pretty brainwashed while I'm there. And I just have a feeling I'll come back and be like, who am I? So I might just hold off on it. Right now I'm just undoing the yarn. So looks like you start with the darkest yarn, and I'm about to show you that. Let me just finish doing this. Almost there. Almost there. Almost done frogging. A little bit left. Isn't that satisfying? Not a single knot. Okay, and it looks like all the yarns are like a guy's name. And I don't have the actual bands. I remember cutting out the names and then taping that name to these little Ziplocs I have. I have lots of little Ziplocs because I put my beads in them. So this is, of course the lighting's just awful, Gavin. And if you pause the video when I was showing you that front page, you'll see that on there. And then the next one is Parker. There, maybe that. Obviously a little bit brighter than that because it's in the shadow. And then Troy. And then Hudson. And then almost white, Luke. I wonder if like, and reds and pinks, it was girl names. So I am looking forward to getting back to working on this project. I would like to have it done. I've been actually wanting to knit a cowl. There's one I've been looking at. It's a colorwork Fair Isle type, like an easy Fair Isle, and I haven't done that other than my cat sweater, which really wasn't much color work, and so it was going to be like a new skill for me to do. And so I've got a pattern on my Ravelry that I'm looking at doing. I thought about doing it black and white. I wear a lot of black and white to work, and I thought it would be cute to have a black and white cowl for the winter time. So, but anyway, this will be my first cowl if I actually ever finish it. I do have this in my wonderful Harry Potter Ravenclaw bag. On the inside is the Muratus map, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I have horrible hearing and I'm not British. The inside is the map here. And I think there's a, yes, there is a tag in here. It's Castleman Creations. It's the maker of this bag. And I love it. It's a perfect like sock bag. And in fact, that's kind of why I want to work on this project. Is I was like, oh, where's my, Ravenclaw bag? I haven't used that in a while. And I was looking for bags for my trip. And I was like, oh, I had a Ravenclaw bag. This was stuck over in my whips. And I was like, oh, it has a project in it. Maybe I should work on that project. So there's that. And to show you proof that it was during the air show, here is one of my other airplane stitch markers. So, yes. Someday I need to get back onto this and finish. I don't even know if I should put it back in these little Ziplocs. These are tight. Why did I use these Ziplocs? There's no way it's not going to roll around in there for me to use. But I think that's it. I don't have anything else. Just finishing that cardigan. Getting ready for my trip. Potentially casting this on. Getting a new stitch marker. Getting back to the temperature blanket. I guess that's a lot. Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to do that. Oh, what would you like me to talk about? I guess I can show you some more yarn, and then I can talk about myself. So, I'll let you know when that happens. That way, if you don't want to stick around and listen to me yak about myself, you know when to duck out. So it's kind of like the second time I've done this video, so I, like always, so I don't know if I already told you guys. Would you like me to grab some yarn and show you some? Let's see where we have. Oh, you know what? I bought this, I think, from like Hobby Lobby, and I have no idea how to like unravel it, you know, use it. So if anybody knows, please tell me. It looks very complicated. Like, although I guess they're just donuts, but they're interlocked with each other. So I guess you would have to use up all of one or completely undo it to open. Oh, okay. I think you cut it from down here, and that one opens and unlocks this one, and so on and so forth. Okay. Super soft. Don't know what I was gonna do with it. I thought about like a shawl. This is nice gradient colors. Ooh, okay, now I want to knit with this. It's Caron. What's bamboo? I'll show you the. This is a free pattern. Wonder what it's for. 60% acrylic, 20% nylon, and 20% bamboo. Okay, so there's only 20% bamboo in here. Oh, that is gorgeous. But of course, it's probably a crochet pattern. I don't know. Maybe? That's an interesting pattern. That's gorgeous, though. I might look at doing that pattern itself if it's not crochet. Sheen wash, free patterns. I'm going to have to look into that. That is a very, here, I'll show you guys again. That is a very interesting, and I like how they showed what it will look like if you do it, you know, different order of coloring. Not exactly reverse order. Ooh, I might want to get some more of that. Although those are very nice neutral tones. I don't have a lot of neutral tones. You see, I do a lot of. It kind of goes with that cable cardigan, if you know what I mean. Oh, speaking of that cable cardigan, I'm sorry. I know I jump around a lot. I ended up with one whole skein left over. I don't know if that helps anybody. Once again, it was a kit, so I think I just picked the size I was going to knit and order that yarn. Part of me kind of remembers something about them not having the size I wanted, so I'd go up a size, but then I don't remember. I guess it would be a smart way. You end up buying more yarn than you need. That was very ladylike, wasn't it? I think I've shown you a lot of this. Oh, if I show you guys this, oh, I'm gonna make a mess. Maybe this is the project my friend showed me. I don't know. Here's another gradient yarn, blues. I don't know. The lighting's just, I just can't get the lighting right. Because this does look familiar, something that she knows. I don't know. Here's the band for them. It came in a hard plastic container or something. I ended up using that container for something completely different, and I know what I did use it for, but anyway. See, I don't need to buy any yarn for a very, very long time. This would be a big shawl. Is that fingering? Yeah. Yep, fingering weight. I'm just thinking my cozy memory blanket. If I don't use all of every color, heck, you could split it up and do 2 different shawls. I think my tea is cold. Yes. Oh, let's see what else mess we can make. Oh, I had knit a sweater with this a long time ago. It was actually my first sweater. Please don't make me take it out. It looks so hard to get in. And I held it double. It's loops and thread. I think a Michaels brand. It's wool-like, very soft. And my very first sweater, didn't know what I was doing. I ended up knitting it too small, so I gave it to somebody. It's 85% acrylic and 15% nylon. Sorry, it was different languages. And I was like, how could you have 80% of this, 85% of this, 85%? Anyway, color number 9, lot 2125. I have a lot more left over. I don't have any pictures of those before Ravelry. I think I finished it about the time I moved out here, so that would have been 5 years ago. I wonder if that person's wearing it. I don't know. Probably could have kept it and like sold it on a shop or something. Well, to tell you the truth, I'm a little tired and I really want to get to the temperature blanket. So at this point, if I'm done talking about knitting. So if you don't want to hear about my life, go ahead and click stop and I will see you next time. And it should be after my trip. But, so, bye to you guys. And hello to anybody that has stayed. As I noticed that my face is like straight on in the sun. Which is another reason why I should stop this pretty soon. Nothing much has happened. Just working on that cable cardigan. Yeah. So, work has been fine. Everything's been fine. It's been great. Just getting ready for my trip. My brother's gonna have his dog come and stay at my house, and I've hired a babysitter. Oh, lucky me! I usually cat sit for a lady, and she actually has hired me to cat sit for her the week before I leave. The last time I have to go cat sit is literally the morning that I leave. I don't leave until the evening. And so it's going to be perfect. I'll have some extra cash for my trip. So, yay! And I've already told her that I will be leaving out of town, so she knows not to extend her trip, or at least hire me, for those extra times, or leave again, or whatever. And I was kind of fearing that, because I usually can sense when it's about time for her to call me up and ask me to cat sit. For some reason, I don't know. It's completely random. There'll be times where she'll go 8 months, and it's been about 8 months. And then all of a sudden she'll have like a trip every week or every month or whatever. But somehow I know. It's weird. And I was having a sense that she was going to call me up soon. And I was actually fearing that it was going to be during my trip. And I was like, do I go ahead and tell her that I will be out of town? I was like, oh, I'll just tell her only if she asks. And boom, like that night, she, text me. It was like, hey, could you cat sit? And I was like, oh no. And then she told me the dates. And I was like, oh wait, I can do that. So it actually is working out perfect. So my dad, My brother's dog is staying here. I've hired an old coworker of mine. She's gonna come by and, you know, see the pets, see how they're doing. And then my brother and I are driving up. He's doing most of the driving, so I get to knit, like I've already said. Oh, that's all. Obviously, that's all I can talk about. That's all that's been going on. My sister's daughter, so my niece, is having a birthday next month, and of course my mother, my grandmother, is already bought all the decorations. And so just shout out to my sister. You don't need to buy anything for this party. You know our mother, she will do everything. So I haven't done any baking. It's just been hot, and once again I've been working on the cable cardigan, and I just haven't. I bought those books. I bought some new baking books and haven't even put them away. Hopefully this weekend. I have not done anything. I literally have only been working on that cardigan, so my life's been pretty boring. Excuse me. That's a yawn. But yeah, I think I'm gonna let you guys go. So I'll see you guys next time. And like I said, it's probably gonna be when after I come back from my trip. I will have time to podcast before then, but I won't have much to say. I barely have anything to say today. So I'm gonna let you guys go. You guys have a wonderful day.